As a third-party witness, we are the observer of these characters playing out. Not the controller, not the stopper. We don't become the hater, which is one of the characters again, or rebellion. We don't use one of the characters against the characters. We let it all go, and we observe innocently. And we return to our breath, and we witness the breath. Instead of the characters playing out, we can witness the breath, for example. And in the reduction of the noise and the understanding and the following of the characters, consciousness starts to seep in. Our deepest starts to seep in and widen the tiny little gap in our heart, and it starts to open up and open up and open up, and consciousness gets wider. So we'll talk about the judge a little bit. You know, in the Toltec Mitote, you have Mitote mean the committee, like we have a committee in our heads and there's different characters. If you start to become more aware and you open up, you can start to see different characters that play in the head, different voices. And when you break it all down, there's only 6 of them, and one of the main one, remarkably right, it all seems so complicated, but really it's just 6 things intertwining, ultimately. So a 6-stranded rope, you might say, or a 6-stranded knot, or series of knots. And so when you start going within and seeing what's going on, one of the techniques that the Toltecs use, which was incredibly powerful, one of the most incredible things I found, technologies, was the Mitote. And the judge is the main character. The judge and the victim are the really the big players in this, and the other 4 characters branch off from that. They usually require the judge or the victim to get them up and running. Especially the judge. Judge is the number 1. And the judge is within each being, each person, can only work really from history, from its personal history. It's cultural history, and what that person came in with. I say it all the time, 2 identical twins can come in to the same family, grow up next to each other, same school, same everything, and have very different personalities. One will be dominant, one will be subdominant. They'll have different aspects. One may be more artistic, one may be more logical, etc., etc. So you come in with certain stuff, and they can be treated identically. So would you mind just... So basically, it'll... Nope, all sorted. Out. Yeah, thank you. So the judge is coming from its history and our biology. Let's call the thing we came in with our biology, yeah? And our previous history, the body memory, and the culture. And then from there, the judge goes forth, observing, or a stimuli happens within or from without, and the judge cognizes this and then makes a judgment, whether it's on that person, that thing, the event. And if the person has a victim orientation, in comes the victim story. Yes, this event, this series of events, this what's going on here, this feeling within me, whatever it is, makes a judgment, and then the victim can come in and go, this isn't okay. I'm not okay with this. This is, and then it might go, this is their fault. They didn't treat me right when I was younger, or this happened, or that happened, or they shouldn't have kicked that goal. That goalie should have blocked that. And in comes the blame. And then if it continues and continues, it can turn to violence. But it all started with the judge. And then it can go off to the victim, it can go off into the rebel, the princess, prostitute, which is selling out, or the white knight. Yeah. We can branch off into our different voices, and they all have their little story. Then they can start feeding off each other. This thought goes to that thought. The victim comes in, the rebel can happen. I'm going to gossip about you. I'm going to confront you. Or the princess can come in. How can they treat me this way? I've done nothing wrong. I'm so innocent. And on it goes. Just intertwining and intertwining until we have all these knots, ropes, and then we tie knots with these ropes. And then we carry the knots around with us day in, day out. But the judge is the main character, isn't it? If we can reduce our judgment back to nothing, there's nothing for the rest of the characters to play on. They have no, there's been no trigger point, there's been no pivot point now. But to catch the judge, we have to be present, and we have to be mindful, and we have to slow our life down to see it, and really want to see it. Because the thoughts of the judge, and these thoughts we're so addicted to, we're so used to the sound of them, we're so used to the sound of the characters that it's automatically assumed that they are us. That is me. And that assumption is the problem, and that familiarity is also the problem. And how used to we are, the stories that they create and the energies they combine and create, we're so used to it. We're so used to this abusive relationship within ourselves that we'll continue it unless we have a strong desire to overcome it. The only desire worth having is waking up, and which is a desire to overcome the ignorance within. So again, we return to the witnessing. We return back to being highly observant. And as a third-party witness, we are the observer of these characters playing out. Not the controller, not the stopper. We don't become the hater, which is one of the characters again, or rebellion. We don't use one of the characters against the characters. We let it all go, and we observe innocently. And we return to our breath, and we witness the breath. Instead of the characters playing out, we can witness the breath, for example. And in the reduction of the noise and the understanding and the following of the characters, consciousness starts to seep in, our deepest starts to seep in and widen the tiny little gap in our heart, and it starts to open up and open up and open up, and consciousness gets wider because we've stopped tying knots and roping ourselves up with the characters. And it starts with the judge. But now, the other side of that is, and the Buddha would have called that right thought, or right insight, right intent. I think the dog's ready. She's antsy. She didn't get a walk, you see, so she's got a bit of energy in her. But we're also in a world of judgment, aren't we? We have to judge. Have we got time to get to work? Is this car pulling out? You know, we have a lot of judgment to do all the time. We're continuously judging, especially when cars are going 100 kilometres an hour in opposite directions, and there's all sorts of things going on. There's a tremendous amount of processing going on. That's a different type of judgment. It's required. It's essential. Do I need to have food tonight? I need to go shopping. These are judgments too, but these aren't the judgments I'm talking about. It's not a whiteout. The judgments are the ones that are irrational, and they come from your memory, and they're usually fear-orientated and harmful to you and everybody around you. They can be also called comparisons. You're judging yourself against other people to see where you sit in the mix. So as far as your happiness and contentment go, the judge is in the way. And the judge is the beginning of most of your problems, if not all of them. It judges that, as I've said, a sensation arising within the energy body or the pain body, is not okay. I'm not okay. And the problem begins. Before that, just sensation. Just sensation, just now with sensation. Sensation within the now. Very simple, nothing going on. And the judge comes in and goes, I don't feel good. And it may not notice the sensation and just goes straight to the thought comes from the sensation. Or a group of negative thoughts can happen because the sensation's in the body, but the person isn't sensitive enough to notice it or aware enough to notice it. And then we just head into bubbles of unconscious thought, unhappy thought. Or they might even be thoughts of, I need to do something powerful and special with my life and rush out there and become famous or rich or wealthy or go and save the world, to avoid sensations also. It doesn't have to be negative stories. It can be extremely positive things. But it can be driven by wounding. And it all starts with the judge. And the only way we can discover the judge is to lean back into what we are and observe. Come to our breath and observe the thoughts and the sensations. And this way they don't hypnotize us and take us over, and then we don't become them. We become an identity. The moment we head into a character, we become an identity. We become a fraudulent non-being, an illusion, an apparition, an idea separated from the now and beingness. And frankly, we've been doing it so long, most of the population's been doing it so long that it knows no different. So this is very unusual. What I'm saying can be very weird, but it's actually the truth. And the other stuff's actually really weird. What everyone's up to is very weird. Imagining you're something else and going through your life in imagination, projecting out and projecting onto other people, judging, victim, all the characters. Just these things overlapping all the time with occasional gaps when intense situations arise, or you're completely in a meditative state or a mindful state doing something you love to do. Your favorite thing, an adrenalizing sport, for a moment that'll part away and you feel good. There might be adrenaline involved, but sometimes it's not. There's just pure mindfulness in the activity, and that parts, and you feel good. And you don't know why you feel good doing this activity. It's because the Mitote stopped. A space opened up. The committee's having a lunch break. And you feel good. But you blame the hobby, or you blame the activity. No, they were just the stimuli to open up this space that we're all seeking, that we are. Putting aside the adrenaline side, the adrenaline's like an energy pumping through the system. Just talking about mindfulness. So remain the witness and see the judge, and this, watch the pantomime play out. It's a pantomime. It's like stage scene after stage scene after stage scene, and it's all happening in your head, and then it's interacting with other stage scenes around you, and it's just a cosmic joke. It truly is a cosmic joke that appears so important. Only because of the importance you've put on it through ignorance, from what you got taught. So you got taught, you believed, you came in with it. There's no personal here either. There's no personal here either. Even in this problem, there's no personal. Anyone going, yes, I do that, that's terrible, again, is in the Mitote. It's not personal. There is no I that has a problem. There's a series of things overlapping that create a rope that we call the I that's not real. And it can be pulled apart. I guess that's what we're doing, isn't it? So on that note, why don't we do that? Please like or subscribe if you found value. Meet Rohan via rohan.life.